What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I'd like to give you guys my thoughts for the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers Week 3 matchup. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content or NFL content. If you'd like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you'd like to be a part of my Jew Talk Sports membership, you can hit that join tab here on the channel as well. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to give my thoughts for our Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers. This game will be played on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This is another away game for our Atlanta Falcons. This is the season opener, a home opener for the Carolina Panthers, similar to what it was last week on Sunday Night Football for the Minnesota Vikings. So this is hostile territory because we know the Carolina Panthers are one of our arch rivals in the NFC South. Their crowd is going to be ready. Their team is going to be ready because they are 0-2. We currently sit at 1-1, and they're a very desperate team at this point. They don't want to start the season off 0-3, and we're trying to stay on the right track and go 2-1 with winning this game. Now, this is the most important game of the season because it's the next game. As you guys know, I've mentioned this ever since the offseason, before the season actually kicked off, that we have to take it one game at a time. And this is mission number 3. We're 1-1 so far on our missions. So this is the next game. So it's the most important game. Now, this game is going to be huge for our Atlanta Falcons because we know in the past, our Atlanta Falcons have been known to lose games or play down to their competition and lose games that they shouldn't lose. But personally, I don't think that this Atlanta Falcons team is like the teams of the past. I really feel like this Falcons team is going to go out there and handle their business on Sunday. I really feel like this coaching staff and this new mantra, as far as the physicality and as far as these guys being on attack mode, when you talk about the trenches and things of that nature, I really feel like this aggressive style defense that we saw on Sunday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings and that hellacious running game that we seen with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, where our offensive line dominated the trenches. I really feel like that's a formula that the Falcons should carry over into this week, and that should be the new identity of this Atlanta Falcons team, is being solid in the trenches and dominating in the trenches, playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage as far as our defensive line. And I really feel like in this game, the Atlanta Falcons, on paper, we're definitely the better team. We have more talent than the Carolina Panthers, but we know that's why they play the games. And it's not based off of what's on paper and who you have on your roster. It's about being the better team on Sunday. So I expect this Atlanta Falcons team to come out and do exactly what they did against the Minnesota Vikings. I expect us to have our way in this game as far as being dominant in the trenches. The Carolina Panthers are down 2 of their starting offensive linemen. Their center, I believe his last name is Corbett. He's going to be out in this game. And Robert Hunt, their guard, who I believe is the best offensive lineman on their team, is going to be out as well. So I really feel like because they're going to have backups playing in this game, we should be able to dominate and take advantage of them as far as how we did against the Minnesota Vikings with running, different schemes. We should be able to, do those different blitz packages that we did in the last game. We should be able to mix it up in this game, but we should be able to come out in this game and rattle Bryce Young. I really feel like we should be able to force Bryce Young into turnovers. That has been his Achilles heel since he's been in the NFL, and it's been his Achilles heel this season is he's been turning the ball over. And I expect the Falcons to pick up where they left off against Minnesota last week. I expect us to be able to at least come up with about 3 to 4 sacks in this game, if not more, because they're playing backups. We have to come out and stop the run, not allow Chuba Hubbard to get going, because I really feel like Carolina, based off of what has happened in the first 2 weeks They fell behind early in these games in the first 2 weeks, and they haven't been able to establish the run. They've had to pass the ball, being that they've gotten behind. I believe last week against Arizona, at one point the score was like 27-3 or 27-7, but they were down at least 3 touchdowns at one point in last week's game. So I expect in this game, they're going to try to come out and start the game strong. They're going to try to keep their crowd in the game, and they're going to try to come out and I feel like establish the run, with Chuba Hubbard. So it's going to be very important in this game that we stop the run, that we control the trenches. And if we control the trenches and we make them one-dimensional based off of the injuries and things of that nature that they have on their offensive line, I really feel like their offensive line is not going to be able to hold up. And I expect our defensive line with guys like James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, Ruko Rororo, Brandon Dorless, and the whole crew of those guys, Leonard Floyd. We seen it last week with us rotating those guys in and out. Really, we wore down the Minnesota Vikings last week in the trenches. And I expect the same thing to happen in this game. Bryce Young hasn't done a good job of getting the ball out of his hands fast. He's been holding on to the ball, and that spells trouble in this game against our Atlanta Falcons. If he holds on to the ball, we seen last week we were really getting after JJ McCarthy. The pressure was getting there fast, and I expect that to happen in this game as well. I really feel like we're going to be able to dominate on the defensive side of the ball. Now, the Carolina Panthers do have Tech McMillan, the star or young star wide receiver. I think he's going to be a really good player in the NFL. Out of Arizona, he played really, really well the first 2 games of the season. I watched both of their games. He is a guy to look out for, especially if AJ Terrell doesn't play in this game. But I really feel like Bryce Young is not going to have time to even look for a Tech McMillan. I really feel like in this game, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm bracketing McMillan and I'm forcing somebody else to beat me. I'm keeping corner and Jesse Bates or Xavier Watts over the top and bracketing him. I'm not going to allow him to have multiple explosive plays in this game. I'm going to force Bryce Young to throw it to guys like Xavier Legette. I'm going to force him to throw it to the Hunter Winfrows of the world. I'm not going to allow Tech McMillan to be that #1 explosive weapon for him, because he can beat you. He's shown this year already. He's made some really nice explosive plays down the field. He's one of those guys that can track the ball really well. So I'm respecting his game, and I'm not allowing him to be the guy that's going to beat us in this game. And I'm not allowing Chuba Hubbard either to run the ball and beat us in this game. I want Bryce Young to have to go to his secondary targets as far as throwing the ball. And then on the offensive side of the ball for our Atlanta Falcons, I really feel like establishing that run game again with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, wear down their defensive line, match force with force, because they do have some big body guys up front. Derek Brown is one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. He can be very disruptive if you allow him to get going. And they do have Bobby Brown that they brought in, who's another big body defensive tackle as well. So they do have some big bodies up front. But I still feel like the Falcons should be able to run the ball against them. Based off of what we did last week, Jonathan Allen does play with the Vikings. And also, we were able to pretty much run the ball at will against Minnesota. So I really feel like Minnesota is a better defensive unit than the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have struggled. They've been at the bottom when you talk about defenses. I believe they were like the worst defense in the NFL last year, and they're starting off on a bad foot again this year. They don't have a ton of talent. When you talk about their linebackers and things of that nature, they have a lot of young guys, but they don't have a lot of talent outside of Derek Brown and J.C. Horn at that cornerback position. Those are like the two mainstay guys that they have. Outside of those guys, they really don't have a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. So the Falcons should be able to run the ball and throw the ball in this game. I've been hearing a lot of different things coming out of Carolina as far as from their fans and things of that nature. You know, them speaking about the Atlanta Falcons not being able to throw the ball. But I really feel like in this game, the Falcons should be able to do whatever they want, whether it's run the ball with Bijan Robinson or whether it's passing the ball. But if I'm the Falcons, I'm coming out with the same mentality that we had in this last game. I'm giving the ball to Bijan Robinson, letting him run the ball, and allowing Tyler Algier to come in and, just run downhill. I really feel like we should be able to dominate the trenches, and then I'll let Michael Penix hit a couple of plays down the field off play action when it's time. But in this game, I really expect Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier to have their way again. And like I said, the secondary of Carolina isn't good. They do have J.C. Horn, but outside of him, they don't really have much talent. So I really feel like, the Drake Londons, the Darnell Mooney's of the world, the Kyle Pitts of the world, we should have our way in this game. Kyle Pitts should have a big game as well, because their linebackers are not good in coverage. So I really feel like Kyle Pitts could be the guy that could have the breakout game, either him or Drake London. But I really feel like Kyle Pitts, this could be a big game for him because we should be able to control the middle of the field because they don't have good coverage linebackers, and their safeties are questionable as well. So I don't want to downplay Carolina. I do think that, they're a team that is going to play up for this game because they don't want to start 0-3. And because we know divisional games are usually the harder games to play because you're familiar with your opponent. But I still think in this game that the Falcons should come away with the win. And like I said, the Falcons have to do a better job of not playing down to their competition, coming out, putting our foot on their neck, and, taking this win. I really feel like the Falcons should be able to win this game by at least a touchdown. Of course, I don't care if they win it by a field goal or whether it's a close game or not. As long as they come out with a win, I really feel like that's the biggest thing. We have to go 1-0 in this game. We're already 0-1 in the NFC South Division, so we want to even that up at 1-1, and it'll be big if we can sweep the Carolina Panthers this year, and possibly even the Saints. Now we know, like I said, the divisional games are hard, but the Falcons right now, based off of our roster, based off of the talent that we have, and based off of the new mindset of the team, I really feel like we should be able to sweep the Carolina Panthers and sweep the New Orleans Saints. But like I said, we have to take it one game at a time. So you guys give me your thoughts on this matchup between the Falcons and the Panthers. I'm very excited about the game, but like I said, I really feel like the Falcons shouldn't have much trouble as far as winning this game based off of what I've seen out of the Carolina Panthers the last 2 weeks, and based off of how the Falcons trajectory is going so far. I really feel like this is a statement game for the Falcons to basically prove to themselves and prove to the fans and the media that last week wasn't a fluke on what we did to Minnesota in their home opener. I really feel like we should be able to spoil the Carolina Panthers home opener as well, because I feel like the Minnesota Vikings are a better team than the Carolina Panthers overall. So with that being said, I have a lot more content coming for you guys. If you enjoy my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button for your boy. But as always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed. Peace.